What a rude wake up call.
So this, of course, leads that wake up message leads into our next section of Pristine Dreams, which became being in the medic tent, where the party now suddenly finds themselves whisked away into a dilapidated, abandoned, war-torn temple that is a makeshift field hospital for an ensuing war effort. And Renveri now finds themselves as a medic rather than a cleric or any type of supernatural healer. They are straight up just a doctor. They're trying to sew people back together, and they are trying to service a soldier, a fallen soldier, who Renveri looks down to find that it is not Nyx, but in fact Howl instead, with a similar injury, which I feel free to say caused a whole other type of panic in Renveri.
Oh, yeah. Like wake up and then go into another dream, a fucking nightmare. Seeing Hal again, unable to help her.
And
sorry, what did you say, Dusk?
It's nightmares all the way down.
Yes.
But this leads Renveri to look over and see your three companions now dressed as soldiers for this war effort, standing nearby, kind of looking like new recruits. And that seeing them that way puts you more in the headspace of this world, where you realize, oh, I am a medic. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, is helping these people. I'm not worried about whoever this soldier is. This just happens 100 times a day, And
yeah, exactly.
I believe there's another soldier there who tells you, like, okay, that's enough. That person's gone. Let's move on.
Yeah, I think it was Renveri's uncle Rafney. Like it transitioned from Devlin putting a hand on Renveri to stop him from drowning Nyx any further, and then it was like a healing stone as it transitioned over, and it was Rafney being like, "That's enough. You can't help them," and then. It sinks in for Renveri, right? I have to help the people who are alive, who are still here.
Yes. Yeah. And again, in a scene somewhat similar to what's depicted here.
Yes.
You're absolutely correct. So this leads into your understanding that Renveri, or Rafney, your uncle, who had raised Renveri and was like, I think a bandit and such. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And like abusive and not nice and really just raised you poorly, was someone that Renveri escaped from. They didn't want to be a part of that life and became devout instead. But now you are looking at your uncle, seeing them as the holy cleric and the religious leader of this war effort. And that's a very jarring experience. How did you feel about that?
Endo personally was just like, fuck you. This isn't right. But I know for Renveri, like the wires were still crossed for him. Everything was still mixed up. And instead of like seeing his uncle and being angry and being like, why are you here? Just seeing him as a cleric of the sun goddess, he's thinking, oh, right, I wanted to be like you, which is very opposite of reality, which is like, I don't want to be anything like you.
Absolutely.
And yeah. And I liked you putting Rafney in that position of somebody Renveri would have looked up to, and just like, I think kind of falling into that dream more and be like, oh right, yeah, I want to be like you. And no, Renveri, you got to wake up. This is not right.
Yeah, I think to me the intention here was to say that as a younger person, there would have been some part of you that saw your uncle as an actual guide, a role model.
For sure.
Until you discover that bad nature of them. And then you have you turn away from that. But in this instance, as you're struggling with the idea that I don't feel worthy of being a cleric, have I done enough? Am I worshiping enough? Am I watching my friends fall because I'm not devout enough somehow, And this being the idea that, well, what if someone else took your place? What if it was someone
Right.
who truly wasn't worthy? Would that be better? Or is your best enough? So that's sort of the idea trying to put on display here.
Right. Yeah. I love that.
So of course we've got our 3 other new recruits now. And Rinveri, I think you were the first to notice that there were several other very heavily armored field knights
Yeah.
like around the temple. And then these lowly shambling new recruits.
These 3 fresh faces don't even have armor on.
Yeah.
It's like, Uncle, why don't we just send out these armored folks we already have? And then
to which I know he spurns you. He says
yeah.
some pretty derogatory stuff. I think implying that, well, if you were good enough to be on the front line, I wouldn't have to recruit, unskilled people.
Yeah.
So kind of blaming you for that, which is horrible.
Yeah, terrible. Hate it, yet also love it, like.
So I think Nyx very early on gets the order to go outside and help dig kind of graves for soldiers, and they send you out pretty right away to work on that. And on the way out, Nyx runs into Devlin, who is coming in from outside the temple itself. And you guys have a bit of an exchange there where he's like, hey, don't I know you from somewhere? And Nyx was like, nope. And then you just went about your business. And as you ended up outside, Nyx, there was definitely the idea here that these field knights, these, well-trained, heavily armored, super strong soldiers were asking you and another new recruit to dig essentially mass graves for soldiers. So what did that feel like to Cypher? How did you feel about that?
Well, it was definitely somber. I thinking about the parallel of being stabbed in the last scene, and then having to deal with death even more, was just something, I went along with, but it did feel very, it felt, sad.
Oh, for sure. And the idea here being, again, progressing Nyx along that journey of saying that, like, you can care for and bury your dead and revere your past, but you can't stay there. You can't live your life being someone who's only concerned with the dead, or that's all you'll ever do. So that's a bit of the idea going into that there of like, this is what we're having your character do now, is you essentially need to bury Howl and say, I am a new character now. Much to what seemed like a frightening reveal at the time, all of the soldiers that you inherently end up throwing in this sort of mass grave that you're digging all look like Howl, every single one of them, to the point where I know you guys were questioning, oh, what are these, like octuplets or something, and it was funny. But yeah, that's more the metaphor that I try to impart through a dream, that if these are your dreams, your subconscious, they would be manifesting what your characters would feel. And in essence, saying you need to bury your past and move on, or you will be stuck here burying Howl over and over and over and over again, So unfortunately, your character gets stuck there for quite a while, being kind of shit on by the field knights and mistreated by them. But Nyx, finds some compassion in helping the other soldier there digging with you. And ultimately, you rise up against those field knights to be like, no, I'm not doing this. At one point, even pulling the shard dagger from the stomach of one of the downed Howls and regaining like your totem for the first time. But while that's kind of happening, like that takes a while through this whole thing to happen. But as Devlin earlier had come into the temple, I recall that he ends up seeing Canopsia and Bran and thinking, oh, I need to get a new recruit soldier to come help me and do some special training. which I think was a poor choice of words at the time, because I think there was some competition between who wanted to go have the special training with sexy hot older guy now.
To make it clear, there was a dice roll. To make it clear, I know like the quote unquote special training wasn't anything like NSFW or anything like that. I knew it was probably going to lead into something else character driven. I think it was just a matter of, okay, who wants to do fisticuffs with the old man? And obviously, Dusk and I, like, they're, even despite not being able to see each other's faces, I could feel the palpable eye contact between the two of us. So obviously I wouldn't have minded or been upset at all if Dusk had been the one chosen to go do fisticuffs with
I don't know, man. I thought Canopsia was looking for some goblin babies for a minute there. No, I'm just joking.
No, that was all Juno. That was all Juno.
I know, it was kind of like all for the meme kind of thing, but it was still very funny.
All for the jokes.
Yeah, very funny.
The bit is the only thing that matters. Yeah.
The bit is the only thing that matters.
Yeah, but what's nice though is that yes, I did ultimately decide through a dice roll, and that is one of the things to me that the dice help tell the story, and the fact that the dice favored Canopsia to be like, you're the one who has to go with them, it just helped ramp up and advance the story in a way that was excellent. So I know at this point, I believe Bran, you said something sympathetic to Rinveri, like, hey, are you okay? That man scolded you. Is everything fine?
Yeah.
Which was very
Just
nice.
checking in. Your uncle's kind of a dick.
Very nice of Bran to do, but this, of course, bore the wrath of Rafni, who then,
because he is a dick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who went on to kind of punish Bran by saying, hey, if you're going to be soft and weak like that, you stuff your sorries in a sack, mister, I'm going to have you go and clean out these bandages and this like dirty cauldron that's filled with weird medical discarded stuff that's super dangerous and toxic.
Discarded medical supplies that definitely probably won't give you some sort of blood like related disease. It's probably fine. You're probably fine.
You're gonna get snot ear or something.
Snot ear, or you need to wear like radiation worms. You need to be wearing like 3 layers of gloves and like 2 long sleeve shirts to be getting into the nitty gritty for that stuff. And Bram just went on and was just like, yeah, man, we balling.
We ball.
So
a man who's good at taking orders.
Oh yeah, he is.
From here, the 3 of you all split up into kind of a separate task again. And we do the round robin, which I like better than doing like solo play. So the round robin is you check in periodically with each character. And we're bouncing around from all 4 of you now, where Nyx is working on the mass graves. Bran now comes in contact with Carl the Cauldron. And Carl the Cauldron playing a major part in your previous stories and questionnaire, being a somewhat sentient cauldron, like you're not really sure, but it very much speaks to Bran at the very least, like it is an alive creature in this dream world. And in such, the cauldron kind of compels Bran, like, hey man, like you cleaned me out so good, let's cook something. Look, there's plenty of meat right around us. We can cook. Let's go ahead and cut up some of these bodies. So
you roll that I failed.
And this led you into some cannibalistic thoughts. But again, kind of leaning towards that idea of becoming the monster, and how
I was just sitting there, like, both wanting someone to like come in and stop this man, and also like, please no one come in here and see what this man is doing. I'm sorry about my son.
So Bran's entangled with that. Rinveri, Rafni does tell you, hey, come outside, come see your cousin. They're going to do a prayer. You can see what I really want you to do, what a good soldier's really like, kind of a thing. And maybe you can learn from them. So he takes you outside to the temple or the tent to the south west there. And you get to meet up with your cousin and see them do a kind of blessing on another soldier. What'd you think of that blessing?
I don't think Rinveri, I think, was kind of happy to see Salir in that role, even though things weren't quite right. Endo is thinking, hey, no, Rinveri, you're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be doing the blessings. And the blessings were for gosh, sorry, I can't remember what exactly, how to phrase it exactly, but it wasn't right, because it was supposed to be blessings for the war. Like, they were the righteous ones, like the sun, they deserved to have the fire, the warmth of the sun shine on them. And no, that's not right.
Yeah, there was definitely this idea that Rinveri had of the sun being for everyone, and being like a beacon of light and hope and guidance, where the war effort here is very much like the heat of the sun will burn away and purify anything it deems not worthy. And it was like, whoa, hold on a second. So again, trying to illustrate that point of, in the wrong hands, this power that you're bestowed upon as a devout person can be radically taken in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So to always try to consider not only your own worth, but what someone with not the conviction that you have would do with said power. So I think that was definitely a big highlight to see them kind of abusing the power that Rinveri cherishes, and really works so hard to feel like they earn,
Yeah, definitely. Because for him, following this path, it was redemption, and he walks that path of a cleric, wanting to share it with everybody, because everyone is worthy in his eyes.
And so how did Rinveri react to that situation?
Oh gosh, I don't remember Rinveri being particularly upset about it. I know he was watching it, and I think he kind of again reached for a holy symbol he didn't have, but just kind of basked in seeing that prayer or that blessing. And then I remember Salir offering to give Rinveri a blessing as well, and Rinveri was happy to accept one, because I totally love this date, even though I'm not chosen or anything. So
so in a nutshell, this kind of Rinveri speaks up to the fact that it doesn't seem like you guys are doing the coolest stuff here with the power that you've been given. And you almost kind of question the worthiness of Rafni at that point, who seems to be very under the impression that his holy war is going to get a lot of these young-faced fresh recruits killed, but it's worth it if he can impose his will. And I think that ultimately was a real thorn in Rinveri's side, which I think ultimately led to Rinveri speaking up and saying as much, I don't think you guys are doing this right. To which Rafni, of course, rebukes Rinveri, and basically the two of you come to fisticuffs over it.
Basically, it was Rinveri, it led to Rinveri basically being the sun shines on everyone. What the fuck is wrong with you? And impudence, and then fisticuff. Yep.
And that's when Rafni kind of draws the blade, the flaming blade that Rinveri always carries with them. This is your totem now making its first appearance, but in the hands of someone that you are suddenly realizing is a villain, You're
Yes,
having that
this is
same,
not right.
yeah, that same realization you had as a kid, that this person is not as good as I thought they were,
Yeah. Yeah, I think Renveri's starting to wake up here. Like, this isn't right. You're wielding this power with like hatred and seeking to enforce your will, which is not what you're supposed to do. Yeah, and seeing the Dawnbringer, his sword, in the wrong hands. Yeah.
Yeah, and
that was a wake up call.
Also, like, now you have engaged in combat with no holy symbol to provide spells and no weapon to fight with.
Really poorly thought out. No plan, but so much passion.
Yes. And of course, Rafni having the blade, he's fully intent on running you through with it. Like, at this point, it's like, I've pampered you enough. I'm going to show you what for, So it's a very critical moment for Renveri, and a real wake up for Renveri, like you said. But as this is happening up in the northwest, Canopsia is taken by Devlin to a small shack up there for this quote unquote special training.
Yes.
Special training for special. Okay.
Which again, I'm like, yes, I described Devlin throws you up against the wall, and Canopsia is like, oh my, and I'm like, no, it's bad. It's bad. He's attacking you.
No. Juno
is like
every reaction that is like, oh, it's all Juno. It's not Kay, because Kay is hating it. I'm loving it because I'm not only a little rat bastard. I'm just like, oh my god, wow, we're moving so fast. Oh my god, buy me dinner first. Yeah, like, I'm not. Kay hated that. He hated the whole thing. I loved it. I was loving it. And I physically, it was one of those moments where I cannot stop the excitement leaking out of my body, which is often the case for a lot of the scenes where I'm often getting loud and making a lot of noise. It's because there's this fun leak on the side of my head that I have to keep patching with duct tape because I can't just seal it up. But I have to take it off sometimes, and then it all just starts leaking, and then I'm like, oops, I should probably stop and be quiet for a minute.
No, it's all part of the fun.
And so I to make it clear, I've got silly Billy disease, and it's chronic. It's chronic, and it's also going to haunt me for the rest of my life, being this silly. So that whole scene, I could not stop the funny bone. The funny bone was just like wig-waggling everywhere. And I couldn't stop how excited I was. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Well, again, this is why I appreciate all y'all's role play so well, because while Juno is having a time, and yeah, trust me, like, for anyone who watches the game, I don't have our chat on there, but like the party is constantly in a text chat, and I could read these jokes they're making, and it's like, oh man, I'm trying to play through scenes sometimes, but I can see them popping by, so it's so funny. So while that definitely persists, the character, Canopsia, is playing it smart. Now Devlin has a knife to their throat, but you're having the character Canopsia like search the bricks on the fireplace they're up against to find a loose brick, and be able to defend themselves. So I think that's great to know that your players are having fun, enjoying the world, but still playing their character serious and understanding the tone.
Yeah, because as funny as I think it would be to have Kay be like, "Oh my god, buy me dinner," he's just like, "I know that. I know he wouldn't do that."
Yeah. And again, maybe certain characters would, but knowing that that's not true to Kay.
Canopsia would not do that because he is again,
very unsure of who he is and what he wants from the world because he doesn't know anything about it or anything about himself. So he's very cautious with the way he interacts with the world, and obviously being put in a point of danger that he cannot easily escape without it resulting in some sort of lethal injury. He has to be careful. So it's obvious he can't break free from Devlin from where he's standing to try and, put some space between them. But because Devlin was literally had him up on his haunches and, on his tippy toes, and Kay is just like, I don't like this. I don't like not being able to protect myself and put some sort of distance between me and the danger. So he starts trying to find a distance with what is immediately available to him, which is the wall. So he starts trying to feel for a brick, and then he grabs a brick because I roll really good. I think it was a nat 20 or something, and it was just like, free brick! Nice!
It definitely worked out really good. And what's interesting to me about this scene is, to talk about the other three and how they deal with the fear of their characters, that sort of leftover fear. Canopsia being more of that blank slate, like, yes, you do have fears that are outlined in terms of like never knowing who I am and things like that. I'm more free to tell a story with your character, even this early on. So that's kind of more what happens in this scene, where Devlin begins to question you in terms of like, wait a minute, something akin to you're trespassing in this land. What are you doing here? You're breaking rules. What the F is going on? And
Kay, I think, just hits him back with what rules?
Yeah.
Huh?
Like,
what?
What
are you
what?
talking about? What? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't blame you for understanding. You don't know any of the rules because you didn't know there are rules.
Exactly. So how did Juno feel hearing that from Devlin, that
oh yeah,
there is something funky, some other backstory, something he knows about your character that you don't? How did that feel to Juno?
Hungry. It made me really hungry because I want more lore for Kay, and obviously any crumb or thing or hint I can get where it's like, this can help you define who you are. I'm obviously really excited for it. I don't know how excited Kay is for it. He's very hesitant to jump into all of it because he has no idea what's going on. And he's like I said, he's already very cautious about the world. So it's just like, if I move towards trying to find myself, right? If I move towards that, am I going to like what I find?
Exactly.
When I finally remember all of the pieces of who I am, am I going to be satisfied? Will this search have all been for something good or for something bad?
Yeah, exactly. That was definitely the hope, or the thought I was hoping to instill. That idea of like, ooh, is this good or is this bad? Because again, you're almost immediately accused of doing something wrong. You don't even know what that is. So that should put you on edge just a little bit. So I'm glad to hear that it kind of did. But luckily, Devlin takes the approach of saying, hey, let's help you regain your memories. We need to find you a touchstone. Let's head back into the temple. You wouldn't have come here without something that helps you remember you, a totem, So I know he brings you back to the temple, at which point Nyx ends up getting into a full-on fight with the field knights and kicking the snot out of them at the same time that Rinveri manages to overcome their uncle in a very it's a drag out of a fight. Yeah, that was a rough fight for Rinveri, I think. Hand to hand versus sword.
He's absolutely not suited for that kind of fighting. He's backline as hell. Yeah. So I know I was picking like the worst way for him to go about it, but I was just I think this is how desperate he is, how angry he is. Like sort of like a callback to like before he used to live that bandit life with his uncle and, you know, did scraps like that. But yeah, it was rough for him trying to just overpower his much stronger uncle. But, you know, he got there. He got his sword back.
Yeah. It was a bit of a it was a slobber knocker, man. It was a fight. You know?
It was.
But once in possession of your sword, there was very much that realization of this belongs to me. I know who I am, and Brynveri is back. And I remember there being this nice moment of Nyx kind of with the shard dagger, able to use its abilities to thwart the field knights, had very much the same thought. And the two of you kind of caught eyes across the field, and seeing each other, you got that flood of memories back of like, I know who I am. I know this person. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I want to say you guys ran across the field and embraced. I don't know if that's in character or just me thinking that.
I think that's what happened because I know Brynveri is a hugger.
Okay.
He's very touchy-feely and very like, yeah, very physical contact comfort. So
I imagine that moment in Greece, you know, where the two guys like get excited and hug and then immediately like break the hug and start combing their hair. Like, yeah, it's cool, man.
Yes, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, what's up? It's cool. Good to see you.
Yeah. So something to that effect goes down, which leads you all back into the temple as well. And everyone reunited finds Bran apparently prepping to cut up a body. And Bran, seeing the others and being in contact with his totem, kind of comes to his senses as well, their senses as well, and realizes like, hey, I don't want to eat these people. We need to figure out what's going on and we need to get out of here. But this leaves Kay at a loss, who has not regained these even most recent memories or understanding of who their companions are. So they're a little bit lost in terms of like, ooh, I'm not sure what I should be doing. So Devlin tries to help you figure it out. And you come to the conclusion that there is a statue in the room of a dream goddess, and that it bears the cloak that you normally wear. So you make your way up the statue, get the cloak, put it on, but this somehow doesn't seem to connect. It doesn't yet resonate with you, the memories that you should have. There's a moment with the others, and then you guys realize like Devlin is fighting off like a foray of these field knights, and you guys are like, holy shit, what should we do? To which, of course, he says, there's only one thing you can do at this point. You just have to wake up. And upon hearing that, you guys are transported once again into the third act of our story and our final dream state. And I remember this description being very different than the others, where this is kind of a calm environment that you guys are finding yourself in. There's like crickets in the air. It's nice nighttime, dewy air, the clip clop of horses nearby. And you guys find yourself in more of a kind of major bustling city. And around you are all of these wonderful people dressed up in kind of masquerade ball attire. There's this lovely castle that they're all kind of heading to. And you guys are now just kind of standing in the middle of like a little cobblestone street in this weirdly desaturated world, heading up towards this castle. So everyone around you guys is kind of made up of these party goers, but they don't seem to be doing anything coherent. They have a snooty kind of babble around you guys as they're marching along. And the three of you find yourselves like displaced in this area where you realize that they can see you. They can acknowledge you. You can't really seem to communicate with them. But the three of you now have your memories intact. Bran, Brynveri, and Nyx, but Kay is still a little bit left out, really not having regained those memories, but helping the transition into this part of the world. Devlin is definitely nowhere to be found, but you guys find yourself out of peril from the field knights and now in this area. So how did you guys feel arriving in this area and seeing this? Because I remember there was a lot of reveille at like the sight of this image to showcase this area. What'd you guys think of this area?
Hoity-toity, high fashioned, dumb, stupid,
Highfalutin.
high rootin' tootin', think they're hot shit, boot scootin' nerds.
I thought it was beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I thought it
It's
was beautiful. and I wanted
beautiful.
Bran to dance with his two lovely men.
Yeah. No, I think that whole scene was, again, the way you set it up and like we're portraying it with the art. I thought it was all very beautiful. I thought it looked dope as fuck. But I don't appreciate a bunch of nerds just going like,
Yeah, the
And it's just
poshness of it.
You think, I don't like that. You think you're
Right.
better than me? You think you're better than me?
Yeah,
I'll kill you.
It was just another situation to be confused by, but also like, yeah, there was this layer of glamour and everything that it was kind of like, kind of tempted to get lost in this and party, but no, we're on a mission. Like we've been jumping from dream to dream. Like, we can't lose focus here, even though, wow, that's like a really nice time. Everybody's dancing.
It's really pretty, but we gotta figure shit out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, our three main party members who had regained their memories at this point. I remember you guys kind of taking hands, like you guys joined hands in this moment of like, yay. I think Bran even says something along the lines of like, I'm so glad that I'm here with you guys and I remember you guys and that we're together, you know? And, you know, you even take hands with Kay, and Juno, you described it as kind of like, you know, a sort of a lackluster grasp, or you were like, I don't really remember you people, but okay, I'm glad to be a part of it. You know?
Yeah, I with that whole moment, it was pretty much again thrown back into the group party dynamic, and everybody's really happy to see each other. And Kay is just like, I wish I could feel more about this. I want to be feeling more about this, but I can't connect with you.
For sure.
Well, because I don't remember you that well. I don't even know if you knew me before. I don't know your relationship to me. I know that we're somewhat friendly. We're traveling together, but I don't know what else we are. I don't know if we're friends. I don't know if we're friends because we have to be, or if we were friends before. It's very, very hard to navigate that situation, I think.
I can imagine. I think Juno, the player, did a great job though of illustrating
Thank you.
How Kay must have felt in that moment. And I do very much like too, when everyone's kind of holding hands, there's this moment between Bran and Renveri where they're like, all right, together then we'll go forward. And you kind of check with everyone else, together then. And, you know, Kay's like, oh yeah, okay, together. And we get to Nyx down there and you're like, together, Nyx? And Nyx is just like, Cypher, do you remember what you said?
It was probably something aloof.
No, you were like, let's fucking go.
Yeah,
that sounds right. Yes.
That sounds right. Sounds about right for my girl. Yeah.
In a very Nyx fashion, you were like, I'm getting ready to stomp the ass out of somebody because this is getting irritating. You know,
This is irritating the shit out of me.
So I like that. And you guys proceed down the road, and you kind of realize everyone's going to, you know, a festival or a masquerade or something here at a large in the castle. You know, in a large open courtyard. You manage to go in and you find that they are having like kind of a dance out in the courtyard that looks almost ceremonial to an extent. And there was some temptation to see if you all would get kind of caught up with it. But at this point, having learned what you had recently just learned, realizing the peril of your situation, you were all very much like, no, fuck these people. Like, get out of my way. I'm very mission oriented right now. And I remember moving through the crowd. I believe Cypher was the one who, I think you banged into somebody. I don't know if they were dancing and you just didn't move or what had happened there. But you bang into somebody pretty bad and they start like giving you this pushback, like, oh, you know, and you can't understand what they're saying. So I remember, do you remember that part, Cypher? Do you want to talk a bit about that?
No, I'm sorry. I don't quite remember running into somebody like that.
No, it's okay. It was very brief because the idea was just, hey, what is going to be the reaction of these people to you and you to these people? Because this is the first kind of interaction you had in a physical sense. And Nyx was very much just like, dude, back up. I'm going to bust your head open, you know? And you just like yelled at that guy, even though like you're walking through the middle of where they should be dancing. And, you know, so that was so funny.
Girl did no wrong.
Yeah. And the rest of them were just like, oh, all right, never mind. Sorry. But you guys tallied forth, and there's a moment here during this where you're trying to weave through this crowd that I had mentioned to you guys that all of the patrons of this event acknowledge you guys, but after making your way for a little while longer and rolling some more perception checks, you guys realize that in actuality, everyone seems to be acknowledging or addressing Kay and Kay alone. Like they see the rest of you, they get out of your way, but they only acknowledge Kay as like worth talking to. So this kind of further exacerbates in the moments ahead where you try to walk into the actual court to try to go inside the castle, the keep, and there are a bunch of sentries out front who have armor that's specially crafted to look like part of the masquerade, and they all have halberts, and they cross the halberts to kind of keep you guys from walking into the keep until one of them notices Kay, right, and then bumps the others to kind of pull their halberts back. So how did you feel at that moment, Kay? What was going through your head there?
I was very interested by all of it, to be honest, especially how they were only addressing Kay. My theory is I think it's because he was associated with the with the goddess of dreams, Desna. And also by association, she's also associated with the night and the moon. And I thought that was really interesting, just how Kay is the only one to be acknowledged in this sea of people. And then once they really get in there, everybody is forced to be acknowledged because they make a little oopsie. And I remember feeling really like nervous because it was just like, oh no. They see me.
Yeah,
and Kay is like on a mission right now, as we discussed before. And you know, once they get in past those nights, he sees Devlin, and he's like, "Oh fuck, I gotta save that guy!" Like it's like he gets tunnel vision, and he kind of just like disconnects from everybody for a second because like that's the one person who said, "I can help you. I can help you figure stuff out about yourself. I can help you remember." And he's like, oh, okay. I need to get to him. Otherwise, I'm not going to ever remember anything about myself. So okay. I think he definitely gets tunnel vision on trying to figure out who he is. And I can't really blame him.
Yeah. So
but it does make him act recklessly and go off on his own.
Do you feel like you as a player then were kind of feeling that Kay was under pressure, that they were like so close to answers that they were now being like,
absolutely
feeling anxious?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Kay's anxiety was definitely bleeding over into me. But I don't know if anybody listened to the episode, but in a lot of times I was chanting, I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up. Which I was really feeling like anxious and wired up because I feel a lot of my characters very strongly, and Kay was feeling very anxious because he sees the potential for answers, and then there's the potential of oh shit, the moment you try to go looking for answers, the rug gets pulled out from under you and you eat shit on the pavement.
No, for sure. And I have to say, I think that's cool. I think that's cool that you recognize that about the character and then have that same, like feeling like it's kind of going both ways, that character's feelings is influencing you as well. But yeah, I'm gonna throw up definitely became your mantra for most of the third act of this. But before we talk about what happens inside the keep, really briefly, I just wanted to check in with the other members of the party. I'd like to hear from each one of you guys. How did each of you feel, and this is kind of a two-part question, realizing that, like, how do you think your characters felt realizing that Kay was being singled out? And how did you guys as players feel about Juno's character being kind of prominently pushed forward in this story?
I was really happy for like Canopsia to have the spotlight, like as a player, because, you know, Canopsia didn't get a lot of attention in the like original campaign we came from. So it was nice to see him in the spotlight and for him to be like an integral part of whatever it was we were going through, this thing we were experiencing. And thinking about Rinveri's perspective, I think largely like he, like me, like isn't sure what's going on, like not sure what it means for all of them to be flung from dream to dream and to be awoken. And like Canopsia to this point has not experienced the same awakening as they have. So with Canopsia being clearly important in this strange like court, it's like, okay, we're closer to getting answers for Canopsia, so he can hopefully remember us better, or will remember more. Yeah. So it was again like this sense of duty, which I think comes to him a lot as a cleric. And yeah, and him wanting to just keep going forward and assist, you know, his friends and help Canopsia now, you know, join them in remembering who he is, hopefully. Because also Rinveri has no idea what's going on. So he's not sure if that's the end that they're going towards.
Cypher, what about you and Nyx?
You know, Nyx actually very much the same. Like for me, Cypher, it was you know, like a very encouraging that Canopsia was being a focal point. I really liked that, and it felt very right. So I appreciated that, and I think Nyx did too. She was mostly, you know, she's still very, like, I know I say this a lot, she's still new at this point, so, you know, she knows where she came from and how she came to be, but her connection to everybody is complicated, I guess. So, you know, these are the only people in her life that have been there, and she does feel like a sense of duty towards them. So it goes the same for Kay as well for her.
Nice. All right, and Bran and Dusk, how are they feeling in this moment?
For Bran, it's absolutely a sentiment of like, I know Kay to be a very kind and compassionate individual. I trust him. And seeing like that everyone seemingly remembered like the past except for Canopsia, it's absolutely like that similar tunnel vision of like, I hold this person dear to me and I want to make sure that they are able to reclaim their memories. We are going to do that however we can while exercising caution. because like he's a monster hunter. He's dealt with things like the Fae. He does not want to get fucked over. And seeing like Kay get the spotlight, I am so happy for a little moonbeam. Go Kay, get that backstory. Cause like it's absolutely the thing of like I wish Kay had gotten more spotlight, as they deserve.
Yeah, very nice. Well, thank you. So yeah, and part of the reason I asked that question, just to illustrate some of the differences in play style, right? We spoke previously about the previous campaign you all played in being one where the characters didn't feel like they played a role in the story, that the characters were interchangeable. So if you really want to have a game where the story dynamic focuses more on players, then I think part of what you can do here is kind of take a cue from storytelling that you see in serialized television shows, right? Where each episode kind of features or highlights one character more than the others. But then the next episode will be a different character, and the next episode, a different character. And you keep kind of going round and round, giving everyone kind of a little fair share to share the spotlight once in a while. Because you never want to end up being that DM that's out there favoring just one or two players all the time. And they're like, oh, they're the badass hero players, and every story is kind of about them. No, you got to give little story elements to everybody along the way so that everyone can feel like they're part of the adventure and helping create your shared universe. So again, having heard the stories of Canopsia not really getting any spotlight or any interaction with an open-ended backstory. I mean, you say, I don't remember anything. This is very easy to now write anything you want into a story with that character. So that was a big focus for me. But also as players, this also illustrates how the other players also recognize that, yeah, each of us should get a fair turn as kind of the forefront character for a storyline. So hopefully everyone out there will be able to continue watching Pristine Dreams and see that in the future, the other different characters will all have more of a spotlight or a shared spotlight in certain sessions as we move forward. So anyways, just a little aside there. Wanted to get some info and touch on that a little bit before we move into kind of our main conflict, which is inside the keep in the masquerade ballroom. So as the party enters in to this final room, the halberts are raised. They're letting Canopsia and their companions inside the ballroom. You notice this place is very packed. Like our actual art piece doesn't depict just random partygoers, but more the sentries and stuff that were in the room at the time. And everyone starts off kind of on the right-hand side there where the light from the stained glass windows is. And that's where everyone started and where you guys kind of got stopped. It's like, yeah, okay, who are you guys? Like, why are you here kind of a thing? And as you guys are there in that moment, becomes the introduction or begins the introduction of Pale and Moonlight, who are kind of the people that are being honored in this masquerade party. And it turns out that you guys are attending a wedding. Yay!
Yay, how beautiful.
So, E, tell me, what were your first thoughts realizing that this was a wedding and that it was a wedding between kind of two of these creepy masquerade looking people?
Trying to remember. Well, one of them looks like distinctly evil. So it's kind of like, yay, a wedding. Oh, a union of evil things, maybe. And like Pale was the daughter of the Nightmare King, which, that's kind of hard to be like, oh, yay.
Yeah, so Pale and Moonlight were there on the steeps of the steppe, and a town crier, so to speak, comes out and announces that this is their wedding and everyone's celebrating. And that, yes, Pale is the daughter of the Nightmare King, who is sitting on the throne kind of back there behind them. and the Moonlight, right, who is like our groom here, is starts giving like a little bit of a toast, saying he's so honored to be welcomed into the Nightmare Court now, and that he's hopes he can be worthy, and you know, this is such an honor to be wed to the beautiful Pale, and in honor of this union, he has brought a gift to show his worthiness of a commander of their rival army, Devlin Dominiani, and they revealed Devlin there.
Yeah, kind of hard to really care about the wedding anymore. Seeing that, yeah, a beautiful gift, but not okay.
Yeah, I distinctly remember yelling in this bit. I
yes.
remember like, no!
There was honestly,
Absolutely.
I think, a lot of yelling from this point forward of a lot of panic.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is there to do but yell?
How else do you cope with your feelings?
Right. Yell.
Like,
I mean, also,
Yeah.
like throw up and cry.
Yeah, you're what?
Mhm.
You might be able to play the game normally and think about all your decisions, but if your character is not living vicariously through you and screaming internally like I was basically Kay's inner voice that whole time, just being like, no. That was a lot of character bleed from Kay and also Juno.
Well, very much in the vein like you just said a few minutes ago. So Kay instantly tries to make a break for Devlin, and the sentries now begin being like, whoa, where are you guys? You're acting weird now that you've come in here. Like, what are you doing? We don't want you to go anywhere. So you guys have to kind of slow your roll for a second and kind of devise a plan. And you guys kind of quickly come up with the plan that Nyx and Bran, as stealthy characters, should be able to sneak around, which is indicated on this map here that kind of shows your final positions during this encounter. Nyx and Bran are trying to sneak around the side of the party through the crowd over there, while Rinveri and Canopsia are going to ask if they can do a blessing, you know, being both holy men, right? That they want to go up there and bless the wedding, which I thought was a really clever idea, and in such cause a distraction that would hopefully give Nyx and Bran the opportunity to possibly free or rescue Devlin. So given the layout of the map, Rinveri, I want to call you kind of the mastermind of the plan. You were putting out like a lot of the details of it. So what did you think your success rate here was going to be? Because I know your intent was just to cause a distraction, not really do anything successful yourself. But what was your overall thought for actually getting Devlin extricated from this situation?
Like 50-50.
Okay.
Honestly, I didn't want to spend too long like trying to cook up a plan. So I was just like, okay, yeah, we got 2 stealthy people and we got 2 holy men. Yeah, bless this fucking wedding. That seems like a great distraction. And like really was just trying to play it by ear. And like I think the plan would have gone even better if Rinveri was somebody who deceived. He's not. He's very honest, and he is so very proud to worship the deity he does. He loves the sun. He would never hide it. And that was like a very big flaw, I think, in that plan. But I mean, was going to roll with it anyway. See what happens. And yeah, and also like Kay or Canopsia, like worshiping a goddess of dreams and night, which, you know, you think would complement the Nightmare Court and someone named Midnight, but it's like nightmares, dreams, not quite the same thing. So I didn't think our odds were like in the bag or anything. But yeah, like I said, it was a whole lot of like play it by ear, and we'll work a little bit at a time. And I think like mainly the idea was just to be a distraction, and I think we were very distracting.
Now, I know everyone weighed in on different parts of the plan. You know, I just think you were kind of spearheading it towards the end there, right? But overall, do you guys think that your plan was just to grab him and get out was the ultimate goal? Or did you actually think you'd fight in some way?
I mean, I was thinking ideally we could sneak him off, you know, like grab him. Although, like looking at this layout now, that would have been really hard because the Nightmare King's in the back there. Mm-hmm. It was either that or I think cut Devlin loose so he wasn't tied, so he could do his thing, and then not fight, but run the fuck out of there.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Just basically escape because I wasn't thinking we'd have a chance if there was a fight here, or it'd be a very hard fought fight just because of how many people were here, like guard wise.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's wise to say, like, because I was kind of curious because I don't think anyone kind of spoke that far ahead of the plan, right? But, so I'm getting the sense that the idea was more like, hey, if we free Devlin, he probably knows a way out of this.
Essentially, yeah. It was just like, free him and then escape.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. So again, just to jump to kind of the fun part here. So you all both go up to sort of bless the wedding, and you get to address Moonlight and Pale. Do I have to cut that? Did I just say something dirty?
I think it's funny personally, but
I'm like embarrassed. I'm totally red in the face. Okay, so Moonlight and Pale, you get to address them directly.
Yeah,
and
I remember fucking this up because.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say you fucked it up. It was a really good like attempt at diplomacy, right? And so when like later on, I don't want to mix it up. So I'll just put it frankly. Deception would not have worked against these people, right? They would not have fallen for any sort of lie. So, but you were being diplomatic, which as the kind of regal people that they are, they do want to adhere to that. They do want to be like, oh, okay, some mortal coming to bless me. Sure. Whatever. Like, what God do you bring me favor for? You know? And that's basically what they ask. And in like your earnesty, you're just like, oh, blessings of the sun for Pale and Moonlight. You know?
Yeah. Like,
I think, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
No, but I was thinking about it earlier, and it's like you said the Nightmare Court, and I was like, what do they have against dreams? Oh, no.
Juno. There is literally a moment where Renveri says, like, you know, because you're like planning in character, which I thought was really cool. Because Juno asked you like, what's the plan here for the distraction? And you said, let's plan it in character. So you guys are in character and you're like, yeah, hopefully someone named Pale and Moonlight like appreciates a blessing from the sun. And you know, I was like, yes, don't say that. You know, like in my head, I'm thinking that.
No, we're very proud of who he worships. Yeah. And also thinking, wow, a wedding, a joyous union of two families. Why don't we unite the day and the night together?
Yeah, that's it, right? I feel like Renveri would be like, oh yeah, like Pale and Moonlight probably never get to see the sun. They're probably going to be so stoked, you know?
Exactly. Like, hey, sunlight is blessing this joyous union of night. Aren't you psyched? Wait, why are you... Why are you hurting me?
Mad? Why are you mad? Why you have to be mad? Why have to be
mad?
So of course this leads Moonlight to kind of just immediately turn to Canopsia and kind of point at you with like, okay, you do better. Like, tell me who your god is, because I'm probably going to kill that person now, you know?
And Kay was just like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I love the Lady of Dreams. She's great.
Yeah.
I think you're great too. Why are you okay? Why are you looking at me like that? Come on, man.
I love
Come
that.
on.
I love that both of you thought like, hey, mine's is kind of the same thing as yours. A moon, a sun, same shit, right? A dream, a nightmare, same shit. When in actuality to these people, they're like in opposition, you know?
Right.
But I could
No,
definitely
it's
see what you were
literally-
thinking. Yeah.
It's literally like we're spitting in their food and just like, bless. Blessing?
We spit in their food like,
what?
it's all about love, baby. Why are you mad?
Blessings are
Why have
blessings.
to be mad?
Oh.
Blessings are blessings.
That's literally
Yeah,
what you
blessings
said. That's what Rinberry said. You say blessings are blessings. They should like it no matter what.
Checks out. Yeah.
We're not trying to get rid of you, dog. Come
I
on,
know.
man.
But of course, this does very much anger Moonlight and Pale, who feel like you are there to spit in their food, curse them, you know, and the like. And they decide to trap the two of you in kind of like a beam of moonlight that holds you in place and begins to wither away Rinberry, making them pale and desaturated like the world around you guys. In a weird turn, we jump over to Cypher and Dusk. In the wings, they're kind of seeing the distraction like not go great as they're sneaking up. And it was like, okay, roll your stealth rolls off to the side. And you guys had to basically do 3 to kind of get up to the stage. And on the third one, I think it was pretty much like almost 3 not so great rolls. And then a really bad roll from Cypher at the very end there, which caught the attention of Moonlight, who ends up casting 2 beams on Nyx and Bran. So Cypher, how are you feeling in that moment? I mean, I'm sure Cypher felt like, damn it, dice, you know? But how did you feel for Nyx in that moment? What did you think they were thinking?
Nyx, well, just kind of like, damn it. That's pretty much where she was at, and she's frustrated too. She wants to help everybody, but you know, she's stuck in this, you know, world that she doesn't understand. So I think she's getting really antsy too.
Well, Bran kind of taking the lead from Nyx, and then like getting immediately busted. Was there any animosity toward Nyx? Did you feel bad, or like did you feel like, oh man, maybe I messed this up?
He understands the situation is tense and all that jazz. So I think it's just like, well, at least we're in this together.
There you go, right? That togetherness. I like it. So this leads the 4 of you guys stuck in place. Pale and Moonlight kind of separate for a second, almost like they're going to walk back up the staircase, at which point Canopsia tries again to diplomacy, add some diplomacy to this situation, and kind of, tells them like, hey man, what did we do wrong? We came here to bless you. We're not trying to curse you. Like everything's cool.
Yeah.
Like, don't be shitty, Barry,
Yeah. Come on, man. Like, again, Kay is a redeeming paladin. He wants to redeem people, and he is not looking to draw the sword. That's not his first instinct, and it's not what he wants to do. He's always trying to look for a level way to settle things, or some other alternative way that does not include kicking your ass.
And that did.
However, yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say that does succeed for Moonlight, who just thinks you're now dismissive enough that he doesn't want to waste time killing you. But unfortunately, Pale decides, I'm going to go ahead and wither your friends away to dust. And you notice all 3 of them withering, but that yourself, you're not being affected the same way. You are not kind of withering away that they are. And in that moment, that's when you see Devlin kind of making eyes at you, and he says to you, like,
eye emoji.
Yes, make them stop, he says, like force them to. So what was Canopsia thinking in that moment? Because I know there was a slew of expletives from Juno.
Yeah. Again, there's always a slew of expletive. Again, I wish I could have played the whole thing a lot cooler, but unfortunately, I am just not good at that yet. I don't know.
It's all good. It's very fun.
No, I feel bad for everybody watching where it's just like, come on, man. Get your shit together.
No, I hopefully most people feel like they'd feel the same way in that situation.
Yeah. It's when you, a player who has not had a lot of spotlight put on you before, and then suddenly a whole game altering decision where all of your friends could die because of what you can't do, but lots of pressures put on you, and it's just like, fuck, man, what do I do?
Well, hey, remember, great characters don't seek greatness. It's thrust upon them, right?
No, Canopsy is definitely not looking for greatness. Canopsy is just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on and who he is.
So what were you thinking when Devlin's telling you, make them stop? What was going through your head?
It's like, I've already mentioned before that diplomacy wasn't going to work with them. And again, Kay is not the first, his first move is not to commit violence. However, it was mine. It was my first thought. When Devlin was like, make them stop, I was like, put my foot up their ass? Question mark. Like, I am like, yeah, I'm happy to do that. Kay is just like, I don't know how and if I should do that. Because it's just like, make a bad thing even worse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, no, Kay isn't going to be able to go up the stairs and get near them because there's the two of them up there. And if he tries to advance and make a move, one of them is surely going to try and get in front of the other to protect them. So Canopsy is like, okay, what do I do? And this panic of not being sure of what to do manifests as his magic, which is, this is when I was still playing Canopsia as a cleric, and then I changed him over to a champion. So this was before he was a champion. At this time, he was still I think he was he was a war priest cleric. So I was still able to cast magic at that moment. And I decided, what better way for Canopsia to come into contact with his magic and his power that can be unleashed by an explosion of emotion. What better way to demonstrate that than exploding with his loyalty and his love for his god by divine wrath?
Yes.
There's only one way to do it,
Oh, for sure. So excellent spell, like you said, kind of perfect one to cast in the moment to, showcase the fact that you're in a dream world. Everything had been kind of about dreams, and you were singled out here. So there was some sort of special connection, and that special connection that you had showed its hand in this instance, where your divine wrath that you cast was definitely empowered more than normal, where it blew back all the sentries and guards in the room, dropped Moonlight to his knees where he was nauseated and vomiting. Pale was just injured critically almost right away. And there was wind blowing everywhere. It was a very intense scene. And people were terrified now of you all around. And it was a true, holy cow moment as the beams of moonlight that you were all encased in kind of shattered around you like glass, freeing each person and restoring their vitality. And now you guys kind of stood with possibly the ability to fight back against these foes, which was, I'm sure, exciting for everyone for the brief moment that it happened until the room shakes, plaster cracks down from the ceiling, and you realize the Nightmare King has arisen from his throne. So sometimes referred to as the Midnight King at the time. The Nightmare King goes by many different names, so I'm sure we'll find out more later in the future as well. But he arises to kind of
ugly, ew, ugly, ew, disgusting. I spit on you, Patooey.
He comes out to kind of give you guys a decree that he doesn't want you fighting in his castle, you know, and that he recognizes that while Moonlight and Pale kind of have been playing around with you guys through these little dream adventures that you've been on, that he recognizes that you are a dream walker. That's what he calls you, a dream walker. And you're not supposed to be in this land, that there is a treaty that is supposed to forbid you from being here, which I love that in session, Juno shouts out, "There's a treaty!" like as loud as you possibly could. So it was great.
Yeah.
But yes.
Just like, what treaty? You could have mentioned this 15 minutes ago. I hate you.
So there was a centuries-old treaty forbidding apparently dreamwalkers from coming to the Nightmare King's lands. And he says as much, but then says, as he's been watching Moonlight and Pale kind of mess with you guys all evening, that he realizes you're not aware of who you are or what you are. So he'll forgive the fact that you came here like an idiot and you weren't supposed to be here and you didn't know. So he says, I'll send you back where you came from. But I know that you know that where you came from never felt right. Doesn't feel like the real world. So I'll send you back with the question, which world is really a dream? This one or that one? And that's kind of where our session wrapped up. Again, with this metaphor of, was the game you were playing a dream all along and now you have woken up into the real world? Or have you moved into a dream world and you can't go back to that waking world anymore? So that was the culmination of session 1 and the idea behind Pristine Dreams. So I'd like to hear from each of you guys. We can just go in order. If we want to go from Canopsia, Bran, Renveri, and then Nyx. Tell me a little bit about how you felt about kind of the wrap up there and what you think it meant to you or your character.
I'm ready to play all the time. Even after they were like, okay, we're dead. I'm like, I'm ready to play. I would like to play more now, please. I know for a fact, for me, it was I was really excited, but also I was a little sad because I want to keep playing. And of course, I'm really curious, and I love having knowledge, and I love lore. So, I'm always really hungry for whatever Chavez has got cooking up, or cooking up in the kitchen back there with the pancakes. So. I know I for a fact is really excited. Canopsia, on the other hand, is dreading all of it forever, every day.
I should mention, not to cut you off, I should mention Canopsia does tell the Nightmare King, in order for you to leave, before you send me home, I want to know that Devlin's being sent back as well. Which he gives you kind of an audible, like, angry gurgle over.
Bitch!
Yeah. But agrees. So you do manage to save Devlin as well. I don't want to leave that part out. So yes. There had to be some modicum of successfulness to Canopsia that this person who had answers for them may still be out there somewhere.
Yeah. And I think I even remember Kay, went to go to even, reach out to him. But I think I had said, it was too late for him at that point to even get close to him and try to pick him back up, Mm-hmm. But he felt satisfied knowing that what they had come there to do happened. They saved Devlin. So even though he is very scared of what is to come and very uncertain about pretty much all of it, he can rest knowing that he did a good deed and he helped somebody.
Nice. All right, Bran, your thoughts, Dusk?
Deadass. The moment the session was over, everyone said their goodbyes as well as shooting the shit for a bit. the moment I left BC, I was just buzzing with excitement and like, when's next session? I'm ready to go. I want to know everything. Please. Hell yeah, brother. And just, I love the like whole thing of, was your past life a dream or is this a dream? What does that mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
Because, oh boy, has Bran done some shit.
Endo, Rinveri, how'd you guys feel in the wrap up?
I was chill. I was cool. No,
You're like, I wanted more, whatever.
Yes, I was excited, but it's not a big deal or anything. But no, yeah, like that session was so great. You gave us a lot of good stuff to think about, and also like I didn't know what to expect for the future, so kind of thinking about it was like I felt like chasing my own tail a little bit, not knowing what was going to happen, but being very excited. Like, I'm ready to go. I don't know what's happening. But for Rinveri, like, not like that being laid on him, that like the life he only ever knew, maybe, that wasn't real. Like, he was dreaming that whole time, was like very existential dread in a way, but still he felt those things and they did shape him in a way, and he had memories of his companions. So even if it was a dream, it still mattered. And even if it was a dream, his faith is still real no matter what. Like, wherever he ends up, whatever dream or nightmare or reality, as long as he can see the sun, he has like faith. He can withstand whatever. And, as long as he's still with his companions, even if their memories are a little shaky, it's just that, that power of friendship. As long as we have each other, as long as I have you guys and I have my sun deity, everything will work out, I'm sure, which is kind of naive of him, but I think that adds to his charm.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And again, like you said, being the one character who's closest to family members outside of the party. I can see that hitting a little extra hard for Rinveri to be like,
oh, definitely.
Well, yeah. Like, what happens to my family members and everything.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what persists from the waking and dream worlds and which is which in future episodes there. So for the three of you also, this is the first time we ever played a session of any RPG together. So I think that was really an exciting element as well, to see that like it seemed to mesh together very well.
It felt great the whole time. Yeah, it was a lot of fun playing in your game and seeing the care you put into everything.
Yeah, after being in, a lot of games where just like the DM wasn't really putting in that much elbow grease to include everybody and tell a very narrative driven, like each DM has their own play style and way that they like to play and run their game. But I have always been, very narrative driven, and also I like to have a DM that is willing to collaborate and wanting to hear what the player has to say, instead of it all just being on the DM to run and make the world by themselves. So I really like that part of, because, you are very attentive and you listen to any criticism or any thoughts that we have about the world or anything like that, and let us also build along the world a little bit too and structure it, which I think is cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
And again, working with you all as well, seeing how much effort you put into your characters beforehand, knowing that I would give you guys these leads and hooks and different just elements that were your own backstories incorporated in, and you guys could see them along the way and express to each other like, oh, this is my thing, or oh, that's that thing. That's like, this is the thing I told him about. This is the thing that I'm always wanting to hear more about, and hoping to see those elements more and more incorporated throughout the story. Again, makes it, like you said, a collaborative storytelling effort where it's like, I may be the narrator that sews the world together, but you guys have to give me the threads, you know? And if I'm not using your threads, then I end up with a one-tone color thing that's bland. So I think it's a lot better with all of that. With that being said, Cypher has played with me in IRL games, both as a DM and a player before. So I'm interested on how you think this experience is different or similar, and how overall you liked this. And you did play with this party before, so how did you think that all went? Did it go as expected of you having me join a group with all of y'all?
Yeah, so it went as expected. I knew that this would work out because Dusk, E, and Juno are such amazing creators, and so are you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, this was definitely going to become probably one of the like biggest and best projects that I've been a part of, and I just knew it, and it was very exciting to finally get started. So I think that, you know, you as a player and a DM have taught me a lot about how I could improve my role play, and you know, your care, like was said earlier, you know, doesn't go unnoticed. So with your powers combined,
with our powers combined.
yeah, exactly. With our powers combined, you know, this is some good soup. So yeah.
Yes.
It's such a good soup. This stew is fucking banging.
It's bussin'.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah, not to gush about everybody at the table, and especially our GM Chavez. But I am incredibly thankful that even after all of the stuff that we had gone through with our previous DM, that we got something really nourishing and something really fun to chew on for a game.
Oh yeah.
And that we are consistently all talking and thinking about a lot of the time. And it's been really great getting to build the story and share it with everybody out there and share it with my friends. And it's just really been great. And I'm really thankful at the end of the day that we're all able to sit down together and do it.
Well, thank you. And I couldn't agree more. Getting to play this game with all of you who are really good at playing online was definitely the idea to me of like, I can take what I know from working in multimedia and listening to how you guys play, how respectful you are to one another, how good microphone etiquette you have, everything like that is like, this is a perfect combination for us to create content that other people will enjoy as well, because we're all very respectful. We take our time, and you guys are amazing role players, right? That was the secret ingredient, was that if you guys weren't great players who would help me create a great story, then it wasn't going to work. So I am happy to say that I thought everything went excellently, and that I find you guys to be four of the best role players that I have played with. So I thank you guys for letting me come and take on like kind of the charge of leading your characters into a whole new world and a whole new light. And I hope that we can do this for many, many sessions to come. So thank you guys as well.
Let's fucking ride forever.
Cheers to that. I wish I could lift up my ale.
Cheers! I wish I could lift up my ale, but my arms are very
It's so
tired.
heavy. Again.
My arms are very
My
tired.
arms are falling asleep.
I'm kind of. It's okay. My arms are very tired. I've had a very big, multiple days.
Well,
Indeed.
with that being said, I hope that all of the viewers out there following along and watching along who may have watched Pristine Dreams or just jumped in on Tavern Talk, I hope you guys have enjoyed following along with our adventure so far. We do have lots more adventures coming up for you guys. We will have a Tavern Talk probably at the end of every session. So every few episodes together will encompass like one session, and then should have a Tavern Talk after that, kind of recapping and doing the same behind the scenes insight from both the DM's perspective and the player perspective. So I hope if you guys like that out there, that you like and subscribe. Make sure to drop a comment down there. If you have any questions that we didn't answer during our Tavern Talk, you guys feel free to leave those questions in the comments. If you have a comment for us, let us know that you like what we're doing out here, and we'll continue to make this kind of content for you. So please check us out anywhere where you can find D20 Dreamland. That's wherever you find podcasts, right here on YouTube, and we'll probably have some links down in the description below. So make sure to check that out as well. So on behalf of all these amazing players out here, again, thank you all for watching and hanging out with us tonight. May all your sessions be merry and great. This is GM Chavez saying goodbye. Party, say your goodbyes.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Listener, may you have a pristine dream tonight and for many nights.
No, have a nightmare. And then tell us about it.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Have a nightmare, actually. Psych!
Get wrecked. Natural ones all around, bitch.
Yeah,
Bye.
fuck you. Sorry.
Woo! See you losers in hell!
That's all staying in, by the way. That's the end of the
What
show.
an energy
right?
change.
Good, I want that.
Well,
I love it.
Yeah.
Be like, make sure to leave us a fuck you in the comments below.
Yeah, just you know, if you leave a fuck you in the comments, I'll know, and I'll know because I'm the one who told you to do it.
Yeah,
And we're gonna like
At the end of the day, and we're gonna like it.
and we're gonna
And
like
even
it.
if we're gonna love it. All right, scram, get out of here. We're closed. The tavern's closed. Get out. Get out. Why are you still here? Leave.
You are so stinky, you're stinky, stinky, you're stinky, stinky, stinky.
Oh
What?
shit. Oh, I'm not muted. Sorry.
no.
We were just waiting to see where that was gonna go.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Carl probably is pretty stinky, I guess, but where's this come from?
I'm sorry.
Talk my boy.
Hopper's in here with me, and he's just
Aw.
resting his head on my leg, and I'm just singing to him that he's a stinky boy. Sorry, I thought I muted for that.
You're good.
I didn't know if that was like the song
I'm
you
so
sing when
glad
you
you
poo
didn't.
or something. was Juno on their phone too, and they just took us to the bathroom? Stinky, stinky time. Makey, stinky time. That's good. I'm glad I didn't stop the
One of
recording
my
yet.
greatest
Ew.
fears.
Oh